What up, Chicken Nuggets? Tyler here with the Sports Cards Dough Podcast. And today I want to talk to you about how you can manipulate a market in the sports card industry. Because I did. So here, I'm going to give you a practical example and then what it could mean for us as collectors. We think we are in this industry, this hobby, this collecting thing that we do. And yes, while like the National maybe had like 100,000 people show up at it, like it's big, but it is small enough to where one person can change a market. I say that one person can change a market, two people can completely make it insane. And the reason is because our market is so based around comps, the comparisons. Everybody's like, what are the comps on it? What's the comps on it? And they want to look at previous sales. Okay, now this isn't as prevalent when it comes to like rare stuff, because rare stuff comps are less and less important. Yeah, it's good to have one as like a basis, but if stuff doesn't sell but once a year, once every couple years, it's a lot harder to figure out that market. But let me give you an example. So Jared McCain, love Jared McCain. Young basketball player. He just finished his rookie year and just seems like a great dude. And I'd seen his TikTok stuff, and then I saw some interviews, and I was like, man, I just really like this guy's attitude. Also, I really like the way he plays. He has such confidence, and I really like him as a person and as a player. Okay, play on, play out. Well, he only played I want to say 20 something games because he tore his meniscus, had to have surgery, and then he was out for over half the season. And so his stuff cooled down, even though he was the front runner for Rookie of the Year. And then the 76ers just had a lot of bad stuff go down. You know what I mean? They was swirling the toilet a little bit there. And so I was like, wow, his stuff's become really affordable. And I was like, you know what? I think I'd like to get into buying his stuff. And for me, I really like people's players' Prizm Silver rookies. Okay. And so the Prizm stuff came out for them a year, and I gave it a month or two for it to kind of die down, because as soon as stuff comes out, it kind of goes crazy for a month or two. And I say I like to let it die down. I just tossed a bills on some select stuff, and I knew it was too early. That's on me, fam. That's my L to live with. And so I'm sitting there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go buy stuff. And yes, I went in. I just did the thing on eBay where you have the search, Jared McCain Silver Prizm. And I think I put the number card in there. I should have it memorized at this point. But then I hit save. And so every day I'm checking eBay a few times a day. And, anytime something pops up, I was like, okay, sweet. I'm going to follow those, starting at $1 auctions. Now, here's the thing. Whenever I went on there, because he had been hurt, he didn't have, I guess, people going in and searching for his stuff. He had been out for a minute with that set. There were several buy it nows, anywhere from as low as $12 up to $18. Okay, so that was the range of buy it nows. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to get, pretty much in my mind, I said his rookie to me is I would pay $20 to $25 for his Prizm Silver rookie card. And I was like, that is what it's worth to me. And so anything under $20 to $25, depending on I'd go in and look at the centering, that's where I'd pay $25. The centering was on point. And then I don't know why I said that weird, sorry. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, anything 20 or under, I'm automatically grabbing. I'll get that, order it. I ended up buying I want to say it was 37 of his Prizm Silver rookies. And I bought a ton of, pretty much everything under 20 buy it nows. And then at bids, I would go in and I would just right off the bat bid $20 as soon as I saw it. And then I ended up winning several of those. But then what I started seeing, again, with no new news about Jared McCain in the news, basketball, the cycle, none of it. His stuff started creeping up. And so what people started doing was they were seeing that some of my auction would hit up to 20. So they started listing them at 22, 25, $30 a pop. And I was like, this has to be happening, because I just went and cleaned out eBay for all of these cards, and I'm bidding up to 20 on people's stuff. And I was like, this is something that, again, you're not going to see it as much with your Victor Wembanyama Prizm rookies. There's so many, and the demand is so crazy because he's one of the top young talents that people are chasing. But with regards to more common cards, one person can set a market. And I went in and saw this. There was a Ron Gant card that I want to buy. I like him. He's a baseball player from the 90s. He's my favorite player as a kid. And I wish I had it with me. I should have planned it. I didn't plan on talking about you, Ron. But here we are. He had a card, and it popped up, and it was a rare card out of 50. And it was like from some weird set I never heard of, but I was like, it's out of 50. It's from the 90s. Like, I'm trying to get all his rare stuff from the 90s. And I saw it pop up, and they had it listed at like $150. And I was like, man, I don't know if that's good because I've never heard of this set. And it's like, there's only out of 50, so there's not a ton. And it's, from the 90s. You can probably find like 3 or 4 cards available at any time if it's modern out of 50. But from the 90s, like, you got to see how many of those are lost, end up in kids, dumpsters, or traded and whatever. They're lost to time, if you will, the sands of time. And I'm sitting there, and I go to look for comps, no comps, never seen a sale ever of that Ron Gant card. And so I'm like, man, I don't know if this is 150 is great, because it could be a $500 card or it could be a $5 card. And so then I go in and I just search, and I do this a lot whenever I'm not sure it's a more rare set. I search that set to see what other players are selling for. Because Ron Gant, he's not like selling like your King Griffey Jr.'s, your Chipper Jones, Barry Bonds, all those guys. He's more of like made a couple All-Stars, good player, but doesn't have the crazy following. And so he's like in that middle range, like maybe Edgar Martinez might be a little too feisty for Ron. But I go in and I'm looking, and it's crazy because all of the buy now sales were hitting around, anywhere from around, $100 to $200. But then anything that went on bids from a non-notable player was going like $4 to $15. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, that is a huge swing. And then I started noticing something with regards to like the background of where it's taken. So like whenever I take photos of my cards to put on eBay, for almost all of them, I place them on my little card mat. This is Tarver Cards. It's like white border, and then it's got the, the orange and blue Tarver Cards logo. And I take them there. And so like I can easily see on the internet that, oh, that's my card. I recognize the background. Not many people have that as the background. And so I see that the background on all these cards from that set that were numbered to 50 are very similar. It's like a studio type white all the way around. And so then I start going in and clicking and looking at who owns that card. And it was this same person. This person had apparently collected this set or picked up this set, and now they're selling it off individually. And I go and look at their store, and every single big tier 1 player, they were listing anywhere from 130 to 170. Like, that was their range. Almost all were 150. So they were picking that market to be worth 150. So, and they had a 2 or 3 that sold, like, some rando players, middle tier players that sold in that range, 120 to 170. And I'm sitting there thinking, so this person, because they have several from that set, they are essentially controlling the market. So when someone goes in to look at other cards from that set, if they just hold out until somebody like me, who's like a diehard Ron Gant collector, wants to go in and buy it, and they're willing to pay it, now other people who want to buy Will Clark or Fred McGriff is a little higher than Ron, but like, you know what I mean? Like some of those players, they're now like, oh my gosh, I need to pay that much. And they're essentially choosing the market because they can hold at that buy it now number. And I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, buy it now is a different, indicator than auctions. I get that too. Okay. I get that. I see that dynamic. And so the ones that were going on auction, I went and looked at, and those are being sold from someone that wasn't that dude. He was like, I just want to get rid of this, throw it up for $1, see what happens. And if no 2 people that are willing to like pay $100 for that card are going after it, it's selling for $4 to $10. You know what I mean? And so $4 to $15. And so I'm sitting here thinking, we are still such a niche market. And within our niche market, there are niche sectors, 90s, insert collectors. There are like Ron Gant collectors. There are people that they like, certain vintage, full set collectors. Like, they're going to go for base stuff and be willing to pay something that, I might not, because I've never heard of that player. And so I think that whenever we look at our market, we have to keep in mind, especially if we are the holder of a set of cards or a particular set. So for me, this will be the 96 credential set. I'm collecting that entire set, 80 cards in it. They're all numbered to 499. Who knows how many still exist in the world. But I ended up buying like 20 or 25 duplicates in the process because, I knew the value, and I'd go in and snag them even if I already had that card for my set. And so now I have 20 to 25. I've got them all listed as buy nows on eBay, and I've got them listed. A lot of them don't have recent comps, but also I've graded a lot in SGC, and there's not as many like SGC sell-through comps, which is the problem with SGC because they're a smaller company, PSA, not as many sell-throughs, so people don't feel comfortable buying it for a certain amount because they hadn't seen it go through. And so, like, I have to wait on somebody who wants to collect that set to go in and buy my, I don't know, Bryant Reeves, credentials. They want to go in and complete that set. And then in my mind, I always list my buy it now lower than any comparable card available also at buy it now. And so I'll go in, and if somebody has, a PSA 7 of Bryant Reeves credentials listed at 190, I'll go in and list my SGC 7 at 170 or 165. I'll go under that a little bit so that if someone wants to go in and complete that set, they can be like, I can get the PSA 7 for 190, or I can get the SGC 7 for 165, and unless they're doing the like PSA collectors set registry thing, then they might just be like, I just want to finish the set. That's, in my mind, SGC and PSA are very comparable in how they grade cards. I'm not going to pay the PSA premium. They go in, and I'm the best one available. And so I'm helping control that market, which I'm invested in because I'm, I guess now I'm probably 20 to 30K in on credentials. And so it's like that market matters to me. And so therefore I'm not willing to just throw these on bids at $1 and hope 2 people are trying to complete their set and don't have the Sean Kemp card. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that value to go down because it matters to me. And so let's rewind to Jared McCain. So I go in and buy all the Jared McCains for probably a month and a half. I'm just snagging every single one. Got, 35 to 40 of them total of those. Mostly raw. I think I only bought one graded. It was a PSA 9. And I got it for, because, while it had been out for a couple months, it had PSA so far behind, and even SGC so far behind. There weren't a lot graded ones for sale. And so I was like, I'll go in, buy every raw when I can, because I don't mind grading stuff. And also that's where you can get a lot of margin on stuff like that. And so I bought it, and I bought it high, and I was like, I'm okay with that because it controls my market. I'm not in for 1, I'm in for 40. You know what I mean? Like, I want that to be higher. And granted, I'm not going to go in and buy 400 Jared McCain Prizm Silver PSA 9s. And so I'm willing to buy that first one, and that way I have it. But then also I think he'll go up because I think he's a great player, and I think he's going to have a great career and keep rocking. Plus I really like him. I don't want to, I say support him. It doesn't really support him because, Panini gets that money, not Jared. We're on a first name basis, Jared. But actually, and again, I've watched it come up, and I know some of you guys will, well, it's his market's going up because he's getting into sports cards, which he is, which is dope. And I'm going to do a collab with Jared McCain at some point in the future. I actually reached out to Starbucks because they do collabs with him, and I was like, yo, Starbucks, it's back to school week. I have an education, social media stuff, plus I have a card, social media stuff. Let's do a collab, me and Jared McCain. I'll fly to wherever I need to go. And they never responded, so John Starbucks, I'm looking at you. But I really like him, and he's getting into that market. I don't know why I dropped in that I really like him, just reminding you. He got into that market, so I could see where more people are, they see him, they're aware of him. He was at the National, he was at Fanatics Fest, and so they might start buying his cards. But this has started happening before that. Now his raw cards are going at $30 all day. So I'm up on my investment. I went almost all I think my average purchase price was around 15 to 17 bucks. Now they're going double that. I've almost doubled my investment, and I know for a fact I had to be the one that helped raise that because I was willing to pay a certain amount for those cards, and then that slowly crept up because when someone walks into eBay, because that's how it works, they go into eBay and they see the sales are $18, $19, $21, they're going to be like, all right, well, let's set for $24, $25. Try to get a little bit above that, stick it at a buy now, best offer, settle for $20, $22. It essentially creeps up. As you set parts of the market, I have seen personally that a lot of that market will fluctuate based on 1 to 3 people versus 400 to 500 or 1,000 people. But that's more with niche parts of our market. So in the comments, let me know if you're on YouTube or Spotify. Let me know have you seen that? Have you noticed that? Is there a set you're working on? Is there a set you're collecting or a person you're collecting that you've seen the market move on because you were willing to pay a certain amount and it elevated that market's value, or you had a big chunk of the market on a certain type of card, whether it's a set, a person, an insert, and then it was so rare you could list your duplicates or your cards for a certain amount and control that market. And again, I'm not talking about manipulating the market in a negative way where you do like fake sales and, well, it looks here, and then you sell it at the show and it's your car, but you had your buddy bid on it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about legitimate purchases, legitimate sales, but you're either willing to pay that amount as a buyer or you're willing to hold until it sells for that amount as a seller. Have you noticed this? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Y'all be good, stay sweet, and never stop collecting. Dr. Tyler Tarver, signing out. Like and subscribe. Dab on the haters. Don't do that. I do that as a joke. I started making that joke, like dab on the haters. Smash that like button. Hit the notification bell. I started doing it as a joke, but then what the problem is with me is I do things as a joke, as like a running joke, inside joke inside my head that I don't tell people about. But the problem is it then becomes a habit. When I was the dean at a college, a couple of the students would be like, "What's up, gamer?" And I started saying that as a joke, and then I literally said, "What's up, gamer?" I'd probably still say it. Like, I can't help it. So, in the comments, do you ever have an inside joke that you do to make fun of something that then becomes who you are? We are our own worst enemy. Y'all be good, stay sweet, never stop collecting. Sports cars are dope. So are you. Later.